What's up, everybody, and welcome back to another video here at Chris's MMA Universe. So it looks like UFC 241 just wrapped up not too long ago. And this was UFC 241, Cormier versus Miocic 2. And it looks like Miocic was able to get it done against DC. DC looked extremely great, especially in round one. It looks like at the end of round two, he actually asked his corner, am I losing? Like, he didn't really know what was going on in the fight, it looked actually pretty scary for Miocic. It looks like it was kind of looking like Miocic was not really able to get a drop on DC. Like, he wasn't able to really measure it well. And it looks like by the end of round two, these fighters were gassed. It looks like they were very gassed already at the end of round two. And then going into round three, there wasn't really much blocking going on and stuff like that. Even before round three. So it looked like they got tired very quickly, even at the end of round one. If you really go back and watch the fight, I'm actually going to have to go back and watch it again. But this was a exciting matchup that had me, and I'm sure it had all of you, on the edge of your seat. It was just like you just had your eyes glued to the TV. There was no way you were looking anywhere else besides the TV watching this fight go on. And it was something else. I could not believe it, though. And I think it was very beautiful the way Stipe transitioned, and he made a great adjustment going into round four and started to actually catch DC with body shots. He was catching him with some pretty good left hooks to the body that seemed to hurt DC. DC seemed to get very hurt by these shots and made a beautiful, like I said, Stipe made a beautiful adjustment, and I don't think DC expected that whatsoever. And at the post-fight, the Octagon interview, DC actually said it. He made a great adjustment. And I don't think he expected it. It was just something else. When Stipe started to catch DC with those body punches, it just seemed like DC didn't know what to do now. Like he wasn't expecting it, wasn't training for that. Of course, you're a professional fighter. So whether you're training for something, it doesn't matter. You're in there, you're a professional fighter, you're going after it. And it just seems like DC was getting some pretty good shots on Stipe where it looked like the fight was slipping away from Stipe. But Stipe was able to get it done. Hats off to both men. It was an incredible fight. It's just something that, you just really appreciate it from being a fight fan. And Stipe got it done. He's the champion once again. Now, it leaves the question, though. It leaves the question, like, with DC not being able to get the win, is there going to be a fight with John Jones? With, DC versus John Jones? Or is John Jones going to go up to fight Stipe and try to become a double champ himself? Or is DC going to try to debate the fight, because it's up for debate for DC to fight Stipe for a rubber match. There's a lot of things going on, a lot of things being tossed up. There's really no way of knowing just yet, as things unfold and people let the fight sink in and, stuff like that. I'm sure some answers, some questions will be answered. And I know, DC was saying he didn't want to make any decisions just yet. He wants to talk to his wife and, discuss it and make a educated decision on whether or not he's done or, whether or not he's going to fight again. And, who exactly is he going to fight? I know a lot of people want to see that DC versus Jones fight 3, but I don't see that holding much weight now. But I know John Jones is in the mix. He's definitely going to be in the conversation between this triangle right now, with Stipe, DC, and John Jones himself. So we're definitely going to see. I know there were some talks about John Jones going up to actually fight Stipe for a heavyweight fight. And if those talks were them actually being serious, They could definitely make that happen now. But I know it kind of leaves a bittersweet taste in everybody's mouth because, everybody wanted to see the DC versus John Jones 3, and I don't really see that happening. I mean, I know they could definitely make that fight, and it's definitely going to make money. It's always going to make money, no matter what just happened just now. But I don't know if it's going to hold much weight. We'll see what happens as things unfold. And I'm going to actually talk about now Nate Diaz versus Anthony Pettis. This fight was incredible. I mean, it was a fight that went the distance. I wish it was a 5-round fight. I know a lot of you guys out there wish that it was a 5-round fight. But, unfortunately, it was a co-main event, but it doesn't really matter. It was a fantastic fight. Nate Diaz got it done. I was actually very happy to see Nate Diaz get the win because it was a war between both men. And, as the fight went on, as we all know about Nate Diaz, he gets stronger as the fight goes on. It's like he pushes forward, like he gets hungry, he like bites down on his mouthpiece, and just goes forward and just does not care. He just trying to get it done. It's just Nate Diaz standing in front of you, pressing forward, nothing that you could do about it except fight back or try to survive. And listen, Anthony Pettis wanted this fight. Nate Diaz wanted this fight. I'm so happy that Nate Diaz actually kept his word and actually, continued with it and actually went forward with it, and nothing happened where he withdrew. And who really sees what's gonna happen? I know Conor McGregor was actually saying he was focusing on this UFC, and he's gonna be focusing on UFC 242 to see, if Khabib wins and if Nate Diaz wins, because I know those are the two fights that are probably going to be in the talks where if McGregor does come back, I know McGregor just got into some issue with, I'm sure you guys all saw, with him punching an elderly man in a bar, and because it looks like the elderly man didn't want a shot or didn't want a drink from his Proper 12 whiskey, but, I'm sure you guys all saw that, and so who knows? Who knows if Conor is going to come back? And if he does come back, is he really going to fight one of these men? Is Khabib even going to want to fight him if Khabib wins? And, I know Nate Diaz will definitely take that fight. I know we would all love to see that fight, to see that trilogy just go on. And McGregor did say before their second fight, McGregor versus Nate Diaz, that it's going to be a trilogy, mark his words. That's what he said. So we'll see what happens with that. I'm sure he wants that rematch with Khabib because, that left a bitter taste in his mouth, I'm sure. But, see what happens. Hats off to Nate Diaz. Hats off to Anthony Pettis for taking this fight. Hats off to both men for making this fight happen and entertaining the fans. I mean, what a fight. That fight was just great. Ended up going to decision, which I'm actually happy about because you were actually able to just see both men display their skills, and to see them go the entire distance was just something amazing. I mean, just seeing both those guys go at it, Anthony Pettis, just showing his flashy moves, and Nate Diaz just showing his tough grit. Hats off to both men. It was a great fight, and I enjoyed it. I'm sure you guys did too. And finally, I'm gonna be talking about Yoel Romero versus Paulo Costa. I do not know how Yoel lost that fight. That fight was a fight between two monsters that were just going at it. I mean, Joe Rogan said himself many times that Yoel looks like a guy that was made in the lab. And he definitely did. Yoel did not show signs of aging tonight. He definitely did not show signs of aging. He was in there. Paulo Costa was also hungry for it, but it looked like Paulo Costa ended up getting tired pretty quickly. And, it looked like there was some stuff going on there where Paulo Costa ended up, hitting him in the groin, and then, Yoel actually went down. I don't know if Yoel was kind of overplaying it. I'm not going to say he was, because I don't know. But, he went down and he was smart, though. He ended up taking pretty much the full time. Where, I think they give you 5 minutes. And, just to try to catch your breath, right? Like, I mean, why not? But Paulo Costa got it done. And, I really just don't know how Paulo Costa got that win. And the fact that it was a unanimous decision with Paulo Costa, I mean, I don't know about that one. I mean, even if Paulo Costa did win the fight, which I don't really see how, I mean, the crowd was booing the hardest I think I've ever heard a crowd boo for that decision. And I agree. I agree with the crowd. I mean, I agree with the fans. And me watching this thing as a fan myself, I mean, it was an amazing fight. Like just Yoel it looked like Yoel got dropped in round 1, I believe it was. Don't quote me on that one, and then ended up like Yoel just bounces back like some machine that was made in a lab. And I mean, both men were in tremendous shape for that fight. But I don't agree with the decision. And even if Paulo Costa won, I don't see how that was a unanimous. I mean, come on. It could have been a split decision at least. Even if Paulo Costa was going to walk away with the W. I really I don't see it. Let me know what you guys think in the comments on that specific fight. I want to know your guys' thoughts on every one of these fights, on UFC 241 period, on what you think is going to happen next. And I really want to know what you guys think about this Yoel fight, though. Yoel, Paulo Costa. I mean, do you guys really think that was a unanimous with Paulo Costa beating Yoel? I mean, it was a pretty nasty fight. I mean, these guys were in there, and they're two dangerous men going at it, and anybody at any time could have got KO'd. And I'm very surprised that fight went the distance. But listen, Costa got it done. Hats off to Costa, and hats off to Yoel Romero. I love Yoel Romero. I love Paulo Costa. I really would like to see that fight being ran back. I don't know. Something about that fight, and just maybe something's in the air. I really don't know, but I would love to see that fight get ran back and, see that rematch with Yoel versus Paulo Costa. But let me know what you guys think in the comments. Make sure to smash that like button and make sure to subscribe. And I'll see all you guys in the next one.